I'm Standing on a Million Lives is an anime where 4 friends get transported into a fantasy MMORPG game and need to finish 10 quests to survive. In this video I will explore what mistakes they made and what I would do differently to beat the game. Yusuke is an average high schooler who gets teleported into a fantasy world. There, he meets his 2 classmates, Yu and Kusue. He quickly learns that this is a video game, more precisely an MMORPG, which stands for Massively Multiplayer Online Role-Playing Game. A game where there are many real people and they all play different roles, like a wizard, a knight, archer, etc. He learns that Yu is a wind wizard and Kusue is a sword knight. Then the game master rolls a roulette wheel to determine Yusuke's role and it lands on farmer. After that they get a quest to fulfill. And this is the Yusuke's first mistake. If I was in this situation, randomly transported into this world, I would use my chance to ask the game master about as many rules of the game as I can. For example, how many lives do I have? Do I acquire weapons of the enemies I defeat? And can we revive each other? After the game master leaves, Yusuke checks his inventory and he has only a hoe and a sickle. Soon after, the group is ambushed by goblins. With his sickle in hand, Yusuke charges at them only to have his weapon broken. This is bad. He is here for the first time, while 2 of his friends aren't. Right now he doesn't know anything about the game. These goblins could have a weird magical abilities. For example, they only take 70% of the damage, while 30% is inflicted back to the attacker. Before just charging in recklessly, I would ask my friends if they ever encountered these goblins and what they can do. Then Yu uses her wind magic, which proves to be completely useless. After that, Kusue tries to attack them, but she's far too scared to do anything. Yusuke tries to pick up Kusue's sword, but the sword is untargetable for him because it is not his weapon. Not gonna lie, this is a pretty rough situation, mainly because the night girl is terrified. I would tell her to quit being scared and that her sword is our best chance. If she is too scared, then I would tell her to attack together with me, since these goblins are just standing around with zero strategy and seem pretty stupid. Using his hoe, Yusuke charges at the goblin, but it also gets broken and he dies as the goblin club smashes against his face. He goes into a spectator mode for 30 seconds and then respawns at the place where his body is. In cooperation with Yu's magic wind, Yusuke impales a goblin with his broken hoe, but dies again in the process. The group completes their first objective of slaying a goblin. After that, Yu explains that if all 3 of them die at the same time, they will die in real life. Okay, this is not good, but at least now we know how dying works. The good thing is that you respawn where you died. The bad thing is that the death timer is 30 seconds. In the early game, everybody is low level and weak, so we could easily all die in the span of 30 seconds. Knowing this, I would tell my team that sacrificing is the strategy of last resort. Later that day, our group gets attacked by a huge troll. Kusue gets slashed in half, and Yu is captured by the troll. Yu yells them to run before getting eaten. Following Yu's advice, Yusuke flees the scene. The next day, Yusuke and Kusue are alive. However, Kusue's hand hasn't regenerated. Kusue believes that it is because her hand was eaten by the monster. Yusuke then realizes that Yu might also not be revived because she is also eaten by the creature. Left with no other alternative, Yusuke and Kusue decide that if they try to save Yu, they will all die, so they will save her when they get stronger. Then they decide to go to the village for the next quest. There they meet the village chief, who explains that their next task is to slay the troll who has been rampaging through their land. That troll is the exact creature that killed Yu. Okay, let's analyze our current situation. That is a big troll, and we have a stick and a sword. It may seem hopeless, but we can use the general video game knowledge. When developers design quests, they make sure that quests are possible to complete. Even if the quest is hard, there is always at least one proven way to complete it. Now that we know it is possible, we need to find a way to kill the troll. I would go around asking people for any information about the troll, as game designers often leave hints and tips on completing the quests. At this point, we know that it can one-shot any single one of us. And because it is meant to be killed by low-level players, it likely has a huge weakness. Usually the weakness is that the monster is a glass cannon, meaning it does a lot of damage but is also destroyed very easily. What I would do next is go kill little monsters and farm up experience to become stronger. I could also try to acquire more weapons, because there is a lot of empty space in my inventory. This is exactly what our main character does. Yusuke goes to train himself so he could level up. Kusue tries to join him. However, Yusuke argues that it is better if she stays in village so they don't both die and end the game. This is stupid. The game is probably not that hard that they will all die at the beginning. Both of them should go and level up together, as in every game ever created. Yusuke heads into a forest to look for goblins and level up. He only has a stick because it takes 5 days for his weapons to regenerate. But now that he is a higher level, he beats the goblins easily and gets level 9. Then gets a notification about Kusue dying and sees the village burning. He returns to the village but sees that Kusue isn't reviving and realizes she must have been eaten by the troll. Then that troll appears and Yusuke starts running. He successfully manages to dodge the troll's attacks, but eventually the troll starts catching up to him. He sees an injured goblin that managed to escape him earlier and kills him, raising his level to 10. The game then stops and the game master appears. He spins the roulette, allowing him to pick another job, and Yusuke ends up getting another rare job, Chef. Game Master explains that the abilities from your previous role do not disappear. Yusuke is disappointed, but he is glad that he has a blade now. Looking at the troll, due to his new role, he can see the troll's internal organs. The time resumes, and Yusuke attacks the troll's stomach and rips it open, causing you and Kusue to be able to revive. Having figured out the troll's jumping pattern and making him tired from all the jumping, the group engages him, but they keep dying over and over again. Looking at the troll's stomach wound, Yusuke charges into the hole and stabs the troll from inside. That prevents the troll from moving for a moment and gives you time to get on his back and blow wing directly into the troll's head to kill it. The game master appears and congratulates them. Okay, after learning this, I came up with a good strategy to fight stronger enemies. One player should stay at a safe distance, while other two try to attack the enemy and die as many times as necessary, gathering information about enemies' attack damage, defense, speed, abilities, etc. When we feel like we have enough information, we can all group together and come up with a plan. This should be the rough strategy of fighting stronger enemies. But as we learn more about the game, this strategy will evolve. The game master shows them a bit of future, where they prepare to face a large dragon. The next moment, they all wake up in the normal world. As he walks home, Yusuke sees the building on which the dragon appeared in the future cutscene. Game Master calls Yusuke, telling him to recruit a specific girl, and that the success of their next mission depends on it. Following his instructions, he found the girl being bullied by other girls, and saved her. 2 weeks later, 3 of them and the new girl Yuka get teleported into the game. The game master appears and spins the roulette, making Yuka a fire wizard. He also informs the group that the death timer is increased from 30 seconds to 40 seconds. Then he gives them a new quest: traverse 5% of the map and deliver goods to Radodorbo. Soon after that, a giant centipede falls from the sky. It instantly shoots pillbugs that kill Yusuke and you. Yuka sees this as her time to shine, so she uses her fire ability, and being level 1, she managed to increase the temperature of the air 10 centimeters from her staff by 20 degrees, and then died. Yusuke, using his chef skills, starts killing the pillbugs. He then gets on the centipede's back and starts cutting its legs, making it unable to move, since they can't wield other people's weapons. He asks Kusue to hold her hand while she holds her sword, and together they kill the centipede, raising their levels. After this fight, Yusuke got chronic back pain for carrying his whole team for 3 fights now. Honestly, I don't know why everybody is so useless. I would get mad at Kusue because she is scared with her huge ass sword while I'm fighting a centipede with a kitchen knife. Also, you could have killed the centipede once its legs were cut off, the same way she killed the troll. Yuka was the only one doing a great job, as she is a new low level player, so she can't do anything. Therefore, she should be hiding at a safe distance so we don't all die. Our 4 friends visit the village they saved from the troll, but it's in ruins. A traveler passes and explains that the village had been abandoned since he started traveling this area 5 years ago. Yusuke realizes that the time passes differently in this and their worlds. They ask him where Radodorbo is, and the traveler explains that it is on the other side of the continent and will take 30 days with horses to reach it. He informs them that there is a martial arts tournament in Cortonel and the reward is 3 horses. While going there, they get attacked by bandits. Yusuke injured one of them, but then the game master states that he detected a human attack and lowers Yusuke's level by 1. Realizing that, Yusuke tells they shouldn't fight them and tells everyone to run. They manage to escape, but see that Yu is missing and guess she was captured. As their time is running out, Yusuke enters the martial arts tournament while Kusue and Yuka go to save Yu. However, the girls end up being captured as well. Meanwhile, Yusuke manages to level up and become a wizard. He gets a few new abilities. Can speed up or slow down the cellular metabolism of creatures by touching with the palm. can increase or decrease persuasiveness of his own words and actions. Yusuke enters the tournament, but ends up being killed in 5 seconds by Cavil the Knight. Cavil reveals to be a girl, and is glad that Yusuke came back to life. Yusuke explains that he needs to reach Radodorbo, and asks if he can help her in exchange for horses. Cavil agrees, but wonders if they can even find any trolls to kill here. He wonders if bandits are fine, and knowing where his teammates on the map are, he gives the knights information about where they can find the bandits' camp and earns 1 horse. At night, they head towards the camp and ambush bandits. Having no choice, the bandits open a cage and release a berserker. Cavil engages the berserker alone but starts losing. Yusuke realizes he can use his persuasiveness ability and tells the berserker someone will kill him from behind. The berserker turns and slashes backwards, but sees there is no one there. He then kills Yusuke, but that gives Cavil an opening and she cuts his head off. All the bandits are killed and they save the girls. Okay, where do I start? This time at least my teammates aren't just standing around, but it looks like we have a hero player here. A player that wants to do everything alone and be a hero, but in reality they are as useless to the team as players who do nothing. In games I often tell my teammates, no hero plays please, because people always try to be heroes and just die. I would tell Cavil to back off and then test how my persuasiveness ability works. I would tell Berserker that in order to win he must stab himself. I doubt that this would work because I just unlocked the wizard class. And this strong persuasiveness probably requires a higher level, but then I can try other persuasive attacks. Another huge mistake Yusuke made is going melee into Berserker. As a wizard you most likely have low combat stats, like health, attack damage, movement speed, etc. And you have strong ranged abilities. Melee characters, on the other side, always have strong combat stats, but have little to no range attacks. If I was a wizard fighting a swordsman, I would use a technique called kiting. I would run away okay, and use my abilities from range. Usually melees have higher movement speed, so you must kill them before they catch up to you. Since I don't have any defensive abilities, the moment he reaches me, I'm dead. Another strategy I could use is to have my melee teammate protect me while I'm using my abilities on the enemy. Yusuke had a perfect opportunity to use his persuasiveness while Cavil was fighting the berserker. Cavil then offers that she and her men escort them to Radodorbo. While traveling, they see in the distance a group being attacked by monsters and there is a kid in the group. Kusue decides to help out, even if she needs to go alone. Yusuke thinks that this may be an event and the group may be heading towards Radodorbo. He proposes they split and the rest of the group continues on their way, while he and Kusue head towards the group to help them. Getting closer, Yusuke sees the monsters are merry kobolds of threat level E. Threat levels go from G to S and mean how many kingdoms soldiers are required to defeat the monster. An F rank monster can be defeated by a single soldier, while C rank calls for 11 to 50 soldiers, and S rank could be too powerful for any number of soldiers. Kobolds of threat level E are stronger than Yusuke and Kusue combined. They engage them and tell the other soldiers to attack the kobolds from behind. Kusue gets killed and Yusuke tries to use persuasiveness, but it doesn't work as kobolds don't understand human language. He almost kills one in melee combat, but another kobold kills him. In that moment, other soldiers kill one kobold from behind, leaving only 2. Kusue revives and gets one of the kobold's attention. As he runs towards her, she summons her long sword at the last moment and the kobold impales himself. Yusuke revives and sees his friends arriving, so he baits the last kobold, and Cavil cuts his head off. I must admit, this is a big improvement. First of all, Kusue started actually fighting. Also, that last moment sword summoning was a 200 IQ play, because that new longsword was too heavy for her to lift. Yusuke, knowing that he loses in melee combat, baits the kobold and lets Cavil kill it. I couldn't have done it better myself. The group then explains that they are escorting these heretics to Radodorbo in order to execute them. They explain that heretics violated a ban on a foreign religion known as Arteros, and since Radodorbo is known for having the biggest group of Arteros followers, they are going to publicly execute them there. Yusuke starts to wonder if those prisoners are the goods from the quest. Should they help soldiers escort them, but then they would get executed, or should they save the prisoners from being executed to finish the quest? The group decides to keep heading towards Radodorbo and will later decide if they should save the prisoners or not. When they take a break for the night, one of the prisoners explains that the kingdom of Deok suffered many conflicts because of religion, which led to prohibition of any religion and execution of its believers. Then the Vice Corporal Camilto from Kingdom of Deok explains that their kingdom has a policy of giving one slave to every war veteran or war orphan, and in order to do that, they must conquer even more land. Yuka doesn't find that as a good king and states she dislikes dictatorship. Camilto gets angry, however Yusuke manages to calm him down. So let me get this straight. I am breaking my knees trying to extract information from a high-ranking officer, and she tells him that she hates dictatorships? I would execute her at the spot, drag her body away, and when she revives, I would give this player a few educational slaps. Not only is she completely useless, but now she is actively sabotaging me because of her ego. I would tell her to stay there and shut up, or I'll kill her again and again. Then I can only hope to get the Vice Corporal to talk. But at this point, I would completely expect him to betray and kill all of us the first chance he gets. Oh my god, this player. The group reaches the mountain and the Vice Corporal explains it will take them 7 days to cross it, but there is a shortcut. This seems like a trap. They decide to use that shortcut and enter the mountain, which has a big mechanism. While waiting to activate it, Vice Corporal betrays them and closes the door behind them, leaving them no choice but to continue the newly opened path. On the way, they see large swinging hammers, and Yusuke sees some pillars. Checking the symbols, he figures it out and rotates the pillars, causing the hammers to stop, allowing them to cross safely. Ahead there is a path with a wall on its side. They come across a big empty hallway. Okay, Yusuke, you are inside a maze filled with traps. You see a huge empty hallway. If movies and games taught me anything, it is that this hallway is full of traps. But what does our guy do? He walks straight down the hallway. And of course, he tells the rest of the group to continue, while he tries to find a way out on his own. Kusue manages to figure out how the wall pushing mechanisms work and their timings, and they manage to cross. The group reaches a middle of the mountain and sees a large arena-like place. They see monster statues on the wall at the other side, and Caval recognizes them as gargoyles, a man-made monsters. One of them gets fluids injected in it and gets revived. Using his knife, Yusuke carves holes into the walls and starts climbing. He falls dozens of times but eventually succeeds. Meanwhile, the group fights off vampire bats and faces the gargoyle. They see a key on its arm and realize they need it to continue. This will be a hard fight, but there is a suitable strategy here too. From the looks of the gargoyle, he seems to be good at melee combat, so I would use a basic front to back strategy. I would place the knight, the warrior and the soldier at the front, and the mage and the wizard at the back. This is all we can do for now, until we know more about the gargoyle's abilities. But obviously, our friends don't do that. Instead, they send the wizard to beat this guy to death with her magic wand. Not only that, but two of them start talking about used tennis lessons. And then of course, Caval gets stabbed and dies. This is bad. Caval was by far the strongest of them all. And if she got one shot, then there is little to no hope for the rest of them. As the gargoyle is about to kill you, she steps on a vampire bat and kills it, leveling up. The game master pauses the game and allows her to switch roles. She gets a warrior role. Yu rushes at the gargoyle and manages to hit him, but is unable to cut him. The gargoyle hits her back and almost causes her to fall off the platform. Yu sees a cut on the gargoyle and realizes Caval did it. She recalls her training and how she should aim at locations that cause fatal wounds or instant death. He tries it, but the gargoyle cuts her hand that holds the sword. Then Yu manages to get on the gargoyle's back and grab her severed arm and pierce his heart. Yusuke finally reaches the group and sees they have defeated the gargoyle. He learns about Caval and immediately jumps to save her. He manages to bring her back and heal her wounds by speeding up her cellular metabolism. Caval later wakes up and learns what happened. Yusuke had passed out since then and is still sleeping. She decides to kiss him, but the other girls end up seeing her. Caval asks if any of the girls had claimed him, but they all decline. Yusuke finally wakes up and states that they got it all wrong. He explains that their third quest was to fulfill the village chief's request, but they didn't specify which village and which chief. So any village and chief was fine. Yu's first quest was to defeat a goblin, no matter what goblin. And the Kusue's second quest was to find 2 settlements. Again, not specifying any particular ones. Yusuke then believes that anything you can specify as goods will count for completing the quest. Yusuke tells everyone that they should split up in 2 groups. Yusuke, Yuka and Caval will save prisoners, while Yu, Muka and Kusue will complete the quest. Yusuke, Yuka and Caval ambush and kill Vice Corporal and his soldiers, saving the prisoners. They decide to go to Rododorbo and bring 3 released prisoners with them, in the case they were the goods. Upon arrival, they bring 3 prisoners to the church, but the quest isn't cleared. They then sell items from soldiers they killed, but the quest isn't cleared either. At last, they bring soldiers' heads to the authorities and the quest is cleared. The other group was just wasting their time trying to escort any random cargo to the city. When they complete the quest, the Game Master explains that they are not in a virtual world, but in a parallel universe. With this, the first season of I Am Standing on a Million Lives ends. See you in the next video where I will explain how to beat a different anime.